Hi, I'm here with my dear friend Akiva Silver of Twisted Tree Nursery down in Spencer, New York. And for those of you that watch this channel a lot, you'll know this name. Maybe you've already subscribed to his channel. I think there's lots of overlap. Um, Amazing nursery person. You grow over 20,000 some odd trees from seed a year and cuttings. Just crazy productive how many plants he's able to send out into the world. And what I'm really excited about is he started this program through his website. We're going to link to it in the description, where you'll have access to all of the different techniques that he uses for starting trees from seed, starting cuttings, all those sorts of wonderful things, as well as the actual seeds and the cuttings material. Um, could you explain a little more what this is all about?
Yeah, it's called Abundant Propagation, and it's just a program for people to sign up. And what you get is a whole bunch of different seeds and a bunch of different cuttings sent to you in the mail. And every time I send out a batch of plant material, I'm going to send along very detailed instructions on how I start it and how I grow it. And then you'll be able to ask me any questions that you need as you go through the process of turning all these different seeds into trees.
Yeah, it really feels like an incredible opportunity to learn, just to feel empowered about growing your own trees, shrubs, and bushes from seed and cuttings. So we're going to walk around the nursery here and just highlight some of the amazing work that he does.
So these are apples that I grew from seed last year. Right now it's still early. It's only, what month is this? It's the end of May. So just really the growing season's just getting going. So these were seeds last spring, and I planted them in this bed, and there's quite a few in here, and I didn't dig them up this last fall. I decided to leave them, grow them one more year, and at the end of this year, I'm guessing they're going to be about 4 feet tall, maybe more. And they'll be nice, beefy trees that I'm mostly going to be using for rootstocks and different wildlife plantings. Over here, these are ones that I just started this year. These are Antonovka apples, which is a really good rootstock from Russia, and they're just coming in. And so right now, there's a dog here. So right now, these are just coming in, and it's really important that I keep up with the weeding at this critical stage. And pretty soon, probably in about a month, I think the apples will close the canopy and the weeding pressure will become really, really low. So these two beds are all grafted trees, and some of these I grafted last year, and then some of them just this year. And you can see let's see if you can see a good one. Here's let me move this tag out of the way. There's the scar where the whip and tongue comes together. I cut my thumb with a construction project, not from grafting, thank God. Anyways, that's the cut. So I am going to be sending out, as part of the course, there's some rootstocks and scion wood that gets sent out, depending on the level you sign up for. There's different levels in the course. So this whole field is basically mostly transplants and a few things I start from seed. But that half of the nursery is pretty much all entirely things I'm starting directly from seed and from cuttings. So a big way I start a lot of my trees is in these frames. So a lot of the trees I start, there's different things to overcome, right? So these are chinkapins, Castanea pumila, and they're like a super small chestnut. They're about the sweetest chestnut ever. They're only the size of a blueberry, and but the deal with them is they sprout in the fall, and because they sprout in the fall, I like to get them into media right away. So I actually start them in this frame in the fall, and then I keep the whole frame in my basement, protected from mice. I cover it with hardware cloth so mice can't get in, and then in the spring I bring them outside and I set them up on blocks like this, and then they get air pruned, so they make a deep taproot, and then the rest of the root bushes out. I've done other videos on air pruned beds. So anyways, those frames have been really nice for me. These are chinkapins, and then I got about 20 different strains of chestnut this year. Japanese chestnut, Turkish chestnut, so many chestnuts. I went to the Connecticut Ag Station where they have the largest repository of chestnut genetics in the world. I got some Ozarkensis chestnuts. These beds are all or these trays, excuse me, are all service berries and aronia. The service berries have come in super thick. I just sowed these in the fall. I just mashed up fruit into trays, and some came up better than others. These are aronia. I'm so excited to be starting these from seed, and then so I'll grow these for a full year in this tray. They'll be super dense and thick, really tiny plants after 1 year, and then the next year I'll line them out in beds like that. And then after a second year in those beds, they'll just boom, they'll be huge. These two long beds, it would be hard to walk over there, but the farthest one is the wooden bed I'm talking about is all mulberry seedlings, and I'm gonna say there's gonna be like 8 to 10,000 mulberries in there. And then this one is gonna be all black locust, but it's still really early in the season.
So folks that are gonna be learning from you with this course, you'd be sending them seeds and explaining as it goes, right?
Right, so you get the seeds and the cuttings as I collect them, and the timing is going to work is dictated by the plants. This is not like, oh, I'm going to go buy some crap on Amazon and have it that day. You're going to get the seeds, and you're going to have to learn how to store them, how to stratify them, give them the different treatments that they need, and I'll definitely like work people through that process. So these are more air-prune beds. These are bigger ones. I actually have these netted for blue jays. Blue jays have just been ferocious predators of hazelnut. So the bed on the left, which is a little bit weedy, is all hazelnut. And then on the right are different kinds of walnuts. This one, these are just coming up now. These are all Carpathian walnuts coming up. I'm very excited about those. And then, but you know, you don't have to build a massive air-prune bed. You can just have these little frames like this. These little frames work great. They have hardware cloth on the bottom. So this one is beach plums, and maybe I'll be able to send some of those seeds out. But see, it's just hardware cloth on the bottom, and then there's a layer of air between the cloth and the ground, so they don't root into the ground and get all mangled. Then I got a lot of different oaks. I got all these hybrid oaks that I have access to, and then nut pines. You gotta see these trays of nut pines. So I hope. The thing with the seeds, there's not a good crop on everything every year. So hopefully we have a good crop this year. But so far this spring has been amazing. But these are Korean nut pine that are just coming up, and I've been messing around with growing these from seed for years, and I always had super low germination. I finally figured it out. You basically got to plant them in these trays in the fall and leave them outside and let them freeze like super hard, really, really cold, and then they just boom. Then they all come up. These beds, these beds are all hybrid chestnuts, and the ribbon is to scare away the blue jays. It actually works some of the time, but the chestnuts are just coming up. I don't know if you can see them here. It's like kind of bright outside, but they're just all coming up in here. And the biggest thing for me is keeping the mice down and keeping the blue jays away. The safest way is to start them in those boxes, but I'm trying to start so many. I'm hoping, you know, knock on wood, that I'll have 5,000 chestnut seedlings this year from these beds, and then more from the boxes. These beds on this side are all cuttings of elderberry and black currant, with a few other odds and ends mixed in, some sea berries and whatnot. Oh, I want to show you this over here. I'm really sorry. Make you turn around and around. But if you come up here, there's two really cool things right here that are just coming on. So these are honey locusts from the Hershey farm, where this guy a long time ago was growing all these different honey locusts, like grafted honey locusts that were super ultra productive, and these are them coming up. And then over here, these are just starting. These are Siberian Pea Shrubs, and they're all coming up right here. And those are pretty easy seed to start. The way I start them is I just soak them in water for like a day until they swell up. After about 24 hours, I start them in just warm water. They all sprout like within like a week. So there's a few more beds, and these are. So I start a lot of fruit trees from seed for wildlife and for rootstocks, and so there's different ways to start trees from seed. So these ones, I separated the seeds from the fruit, and then the seeds went into bags of moist sand, and they were cold stratified in the fridge. And these are all birch leaf pear, Pyrus betulifolia, and it's a rootstock that people use for Asian pears. So I'll leave these for 2 years before I dig them up to graft them. But you can see how thick I sowed the seeds. You don't have to do it that thick. And then over here, these pears I started, I collect wild fruit for the cidery. This lady, she makes a wine out of these wild pears, and then I went back when after she had pressed them, I took all the pumice and mixed up the pumice with a paint mixer. I got it all fluffed up into a slurry and spread it into these beds, and look at all these beautiful pears that are coming in. Much better spacing. After 1 year, they'll probably be big enough for grafting. This bed is hardwood cuttings, and I'm going to be sending hardwood cuttings as part of the course. So these are different varieties of willow. There's actually some jostaberries in front, but these are just basically stabbing into the ground. It's nice rich soil, and they will be huge plants. This is only May. This will just be crazy 4 foot, 5 foot tall plants by the end of the summer. So I don't know, if you're interested in abundant propagation, we'll put a link in the video, and you can email me any questions you want. So I like growing trees.
Thanks so much, Akiva.
All right.